Hi, Teri here from Stamping Magic. Welcome back to my channel. Today's project is a gift bag. Now this measures 8 inches wide, 8 inches tall and 3 inches deep. So it's a really good size. And the best thing is it folds flat, so you can make multiples and store them really easily. I've used the Christmas Gleaming stamp set together with some of the papers from the Poinsettia Place Designer Series paper pack. So let's get started. These are all the measurements you need for all the elements required to create this project. So if you're interested in reproducing it, take a screenshot so you can refer to it later. I have 2 pieces of the Poinsettia Place Designer Series paper here, and these are both the same size, 11.5 inches by 11. You need to place one into your scoreboard with the longest side across the top. Now if you have a pattern orientation, so a one-way design, you need to make sure that it's the right way up. So the 11.5 inches is the width and the 11 inches is the height. So when you cut your paper, make sure you cut it in the right direction. So it should be the right way up when you place it into your scoreboard. Now this is going to be the front, and I'm going to score it at 3 inches and 11 inches. Then I'm going to turn the paper clockwise a quarter turn and score it again at 3 inches, and then at 4.5 inches, but I'm only going down to the first score line. Then I'm going to turn it back and I'm going to score at 1.5 inches down to the first score line. Now I'm going to repeat most of that for the back piece. You want to place it into your scoreboard with the longest side across the top. The pattern should be flowing in the right direction. Then score down at 3 inches and 11 inches. Quarter turn the paper and score down at 3 inches. And now this is a different bit. You're going to score at 4.5 inches, but all the way down. You want an extra fold in that back section to enable the bag to fold flat. Then turn it back and score down at 1.5 inches just to that first score line. Now I know because this pattern is so busy you can't see the score lines, so I've done up a template to make it a bit clearer what we've done. Now on each panel you've got a side section and then either the front and the back and then a 1/2 inch tab. Now on the front you've got a score line just across the side section, but on the back you've got a horizontal score line all the way across. I need to do some additional scoring at the bottom of the side section, and that's within that little rectangular box at the bottom. And I'm going to go from the middle score down to the bottom right and the bottom left, and this will create little triangles in that section. Because this pattern is so busy, I'm actually going to score it on the reverse. Normally I would do it on the right side, but it doesn't make a lot of difference. It doesn't really matter. So I need to go from the bottom right of that rectangle up to the bottom of that center score line down the middle of the side section. Hope that makes sense. And then I'm going to go from the bottom left up to the same point, and this creates a triangle shape within that rectangle. There, I think you can see that. Okay, so that's one side done. Now I'm going to do exactly the same for the other piece. So this has to be done at the bottom of both side sections. So I'm scoring from the bottom corners up to the bottom of that center score line that runs through the side section. And I'm just using my scoring stylus and a metal ruler to do this. There we go. There's only a little cutting required for this gift bag. First of all, you have a small rectangular section on the bottom right, and you need to remove that. And then I'm going to slant cut the top and the bottom of the remaining 1/2 inch tab above it. Next, I'm going to cut up the remaining vertical score line to create a corner tab on the left side, and I'm going to slant cut each side edge of that too. So starting with that little bottom right section, I'm going to remove that corner rectangle, and I'm going to slant cut the top and the bottom of the remaining 1/2 inch tab. Then I'll cut up the vertical score line that's left along the bottom and just take a slither off either side of that corner tab that I've created. And if I flip this over, you can see a bit more clearly what I've done. And then I'm going to repeat this for the second piece. Now I can fold on the score lines and burnish them with my bone folder. I'm doing the base of the bag first of all, and that's straightforward, just fold it back. Then the side, and then the 1/2 inch tab. Now you've got a extra score line going across the side section, and I'm just going to ease that with my fingers into a valley fold. Now the score line that runs halfway through the side section also needs to be a valley, and I'm going to use my bone folder and burnish that down to that horizontal score line. Okay, then I'm going to pull it back to create the triangle, and it sort of forms itself as you pull it, and then burnish that too. Okay, so that's my front section done. The back section is almost identical, but you've got that extra horizontal score line running all the way through. So again, I'm starting with the base of the gift bag, and then that extra score line goes the other way. It's a valley fold. So fold the whole thing and then burnish. Now the rest of the bag is going to be exactly the same. So I'll fold the side and the 1/2 inch tab, and then I'll show you clearly this side section again. So that center score line, you need to burnish down to the first horizontal score line. Okay, if you hold the bone folder at that point, or your finger, and then just pull it back towards you, that will form the triangle, and just give it a good burnish. So that second score line across the back enables the bag to fold flat. This is the Christmas Gleaming stamp set, and today I'm using the Holly and Berries image and this sentiment. I'll be stamping the holly using Memento Tuxedo Black ink because I want to colour using the Stampin' Blends alcohol markers. The sentiment will be stamped using real red ink. The sentiment will be die cut using one of the Stitched Shapes square dies, and this is the second size up. I've die cut the scallop square mat to go underneath it using one of the layering squares dies, and this is the 5th size up. The holly and the berries will need to be cut out by hand. I've added dimensionals to the back of the holly and berries and also the real red scallop square mat. Now I have another strip of the Poinsettia Place Designer Series paper and another of real red cardstock. These need to be layered together as well as the sentiment. I'm going to add the decorative panel to the front of the gift bag before I put them together. Now I'm going to fold the sides out of the way, and then I can use my grid paper to help me add this panel straight. Before I make up the base, I want to mark the position for the handles on the top edge. I'm measuring in from the side edges of the front 2 inches and just making a pencil mark. Then I'll do the same for the back. To make up the base of the box, I'm going to fold the back tab down first of all. Then I'll add glue to the remaining 3 tabs. I can fold the sides in and then fold the front, and this leaves a lovely edge on the front of the bag. Then you need to press down from the inside to make sure everything's firmly stuck. To make the bag fold flat, if you just push the sides in and bring the front and the back edge together, and then walk your fingers down the bag, and when you get to that extra score line, the bag will just fold automatically. Once you've done that, give it a light burnish with your bone folder. For the handles, I have 2 strips of crumb cake cardstock. Now these are, in my case, the length of an A4 sheet of card, but if you work with 8.5 by 11 inch card, then 11 inches is absolutely fine. Now these are half an inch wide. All I'm going to do is add glue to the bottom of one of these strips, and I'm just applying it to about half an inch again. And then where I made that pencil mark, I'm going to position my handle and make sure that mark is more or less centered on the handle. Now because I'm using wet glue, I need to hold it for a few seconds for it to take. When it has, I can apply glue to the other end. Again, it's on the same side that I applied the last time, and I'm just doing about half an inch. All you have to do is bend the handle back and then twist it towards you. And then I'm going to position this end where I made the other pencil mark. And you get this lovely shape to the handles. Don't forget to remove those pencil marks. I'm now going to do exactly the same to position the handle on the back of the bag. As I'm positioning each side, I'm going to squeeze the bag closed and just make sure that it lines up with the ones on the front. And that's it. My bag's now complete. And this one's a great size. I have made 2 smaller ones before, and I'll leave a link to those at the top right of the screen under the eye. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Bye for now.